Onto this devastating story now. The family of a PJ Simelane Secondary pupil who committed suicide is seeking answers. He was allegedly humiliated in class by a teacher. The Gauteng Education Department is currently investigating the situation, and to discuss this sensitive story further, we're joined by the department's Steve Mabona. Not the kind of conversation that any of us wish to have, Steve, at any point. I have indicated in my intro that you are in the initial stages of an investigation. Have there been any initial details around the circumstances of the young man's decision to take his own life?
Good afternoon, Rofiwa, and to all our viewers. No, currently we continue with our investigation. As soon as we have the report, then we will be in a position to come out in the public and say this is what might have happened. For now, we are not in a position to say on what might have transpired. Hence, we have decided then to precautionarily remove the educator at the school. It's actually it's an assistant educator, not an educator, so that we then investigate and finalize the case, and we'll be in a position to announce on the outcome.
Speaking to the school principal, Steve, is there an indication that there is adequate refresher courses on social activity with children and dealing with sensitive issues around sexuality, race, or any other things that young children or young pupils may be dealing with at any stage, as opposed to having educators deal with it in the manner that this one did, resulting to this tragedy?
No, our psychosocial unit team always visits schools in the event there are challenges. That's why we normally encourage schools to report their cases to the district so that they are supported. You will know that the basic education, they're still working on the policy inroads on how we're going to be managing, especially the sensitive gender issues at school level, to a certain extent, that we also need to address the issue of probably your ablution facilities, because we had a case in somewhere in Soweto where learners were complaining to say they are being marginalized because of their sexual being or sexual orientation. So you look at those and make sure that you make inroads and interact with schools, be it when we work with the Department of Health, when we do the health education, we are in a position to also introduce those topics to say how people are supposed to be behaving and how managing each other when coming to sexual orientation. Quite sensitive, but we think that when we continue with the education that must be imparted to our employees and their fellow learners, it should come a long way.
But surely it must concern you, Steve, and it must make you wonder about the level of psychosocial engagements that the department has with teachers across the different schools in the province, when you are seeing a learner get verbally abused by an assistant teacher, as you've just clarified for us, and then when the learner reports it to other teachers, they ignore the situation. That in itself has to be rather concerning for the department, and maybe make you question the amount of time you are spending with teachers to make sure that they are on the ball when it comes to dealing with sensitive matters, as you've labelled them.
You are correct. Any concern that is put on our table, it's concerning, because we deal here with children whom their parents, they've actually given their responsibility to parent to us as the department. Talking about our educators and all our employees. So any concern, irrespective of what is put on our table, that's why, to a certain extent, in some quarters, we find time with the MEC to visit some of the schools and make sure that we put an emphasis on how we feel, on how we classify some of these things. So any concern that is put on our table, coming from learners or even from educators, it's something that we take very serious. That's why we then called upon the district to say, please investigate this matter quickly so that we can understand on what might have transpired. If people need to be taken for disciplinary process, that's the route that we'll take.
And that we have run out of time, but that is what I wanted you to explain to us. After the investigation has concluded, what are the likely scenarios for the assistant teacher? Are we likely to see, apart from a disciplinary hearing, Steve, perhaps firing or any other kind of action taken against this particular implicated assistant teacher? Oh, it looks like we've lost Steve. It was an important question, but hopefully we'll get the update on the likely action that will be taken by the department and the school after that investigation is finalized.